What's up, baby?
Are we ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to a Pinch of Basil. That's right. It's the Pinch of Basil show. It's Wednesday, December 1st. Can you believe it's December 1st already,
crazy.
man?
No,
it was just Halloween last week. And
it does seem like it.
Yeah, and then because I still got candy. And I had a bunch of people during because whatever candy was left over is still by the front door. So people are coming in. I'm screaming at my wife, honey, come on over here. Look at this. They're dressed as guests coming over to our house for Thanksgiving. That's so adorable. That's okay. I wanted to bring you
as family. They're dressed up as our family.
How did you get that costume? It was Anyway, I want to bring you all fantastic guests from all over the world, the movers and the shakers in the news, in the entertainment world, politics, sports, and like I said, from all over the world. I am Basil, your Christmas baked good of love, along with my other Christmas cookie of love. That's right, my engineer, my co-host, J.R. Quitman. What up, my brother?
What's up? How's it going?
Man. Good, brother. And and our ever so lovely goddess will be with us next week. She'll be back. She doesn't have, she needs some time off. Can we blame her? Right. She needs time off, for God's sake.
Need to get away from my crazy asses for a little while.
Well, both of us, let me tell you, she can beat the hell out of both of us if she wants. We're indeed broadcasting our show, streaming live on everything from Twitch at A Pinch of Basil, on Facebook if you're watching right now. That's right, Facebook. Go to Basil Fans. Follow me, BASILE FANS, where you're watching the show right now. And also, let me see what we got. We have Twitter.com. That's right, Twitter.com at Basil Fans. So, hey, listen, you got to do it. And then really, the big one we really want you to go to, we want you to go to YouTube at Basil the Comedian. You'll see the icon where it says A Pinch of Basil. Hey, you know what? Why don't you just join us? Click, what is that little nut thing you got to click?
Little subscribe thing there. Subscribe thing.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah, and then you can catch us on Anchor. That's right. We are, of course, through Anchor. We're on 8 different outlets, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, just to name a few. And let's not forget Greek Beat Radio all around the world. They take our signal all the way to Australia, all throughout Europe, South Africa, and here, of course, in North America, including Canada and the U.S., and even down South and Central America. They do a wonderful job. Thank you, Greek Beat Radio. And for those who are listening on live FM radio around the world as well, hey, you are listening to Pinch of Basil radio show with me, your wonderful love, your baklava of love, Basil. Listen, let's always do. I love to hear from my listeners. Shut up. Just shut up and go with it, okay? I love to listen to our listeners around the world. You can comment on whatever we're talking about, and we'll even answer. So we already got people on here. We got Ana Galan is with us tonight, and who else we got with us, man?
Let's see, we got Ana Galan. That's Ana Hernandez Galan. Oh, yeah, that's the same person.
That's the same person. Come on, man.
It's just different names on two different
platforms. Names. That's what's going on. Yeah. All right. So make sure you listen, Ana, we love you, baby. And hey, I need some more cigars, for God's sakes. I really do. That's all I'm going to say. She's promised me that she's going to take me to a great place for Cuban food and cigars afterwards when I hit Miami. So I'm going to definitely be there. Like I said, we really want to hear from you, my special listeners. And you can even email us at info@apinchofbasil. That's right. Follow me. Join me on Twitter. Absolutely. Concert dates coming up. Hey, this Friday night, I'm going to be in Edison, New Jersey at the HEPA Comedy Night. They're doing this huge event. It's almost sold out. That's what I heard. So make sure you go to my website at basillive.com. December 10th, I'll be in Arlington, Massachusetts at St. Barbara's Greek Orthodox Church. New Year's Eve in Novi, Michigan at Big Tommy's on December 31st. New Year's Eve. So make sure you go and get that. It's going to be my last date that I'll be doing. So you can always find all of our dates that we have all over the place. And then we got European dates coming up, and we also got Australian dates. So we just finally negotiated a deal in Australia, so we're very, very excited for all of you out there who keep telling me, "Babe, so when are you coming back to Oz?" Well, we're going to have some of that information coming to you, and in a few minutes, our guest, and I'm really excited about this. I know you are too, JR.
Very excited.
George Pantas will be with us. He is the big-time promoter extraordinaire, just an unbelievable man. Who I didn't know he was a big fan of mine. I had no clue.
Yeah, huge fan, and he's a big time pro wrestling promoter. And this is right down my alley. Everybody, like,
yeah.
I met George on my wrestling podcast.
I mean, I've never seen a person. I've never seen a person who gets his nipples hard like you do when you mention wrestling.
Hey man,
I just never seen that.
I just pro wrestling for me. It just keeps me young. It takes me back to my childhood memories. You know what I mean? And honestly, just the storytelling about it, and just seeing people do stuff that I never could do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Like a double souffle,
suplex.
Yeah, whatever. Souffle, suplex, whatever the heck.
Suplex.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what. I tell you what, how about this? Next time I see you, I suplex you, you tell me if it hurts or not.
If you suplex
how about that?
I would give a lot of money for you to jump off, to climb the ropes on the top rung, fly halfway across the ring. I'll let you go ahead and do souffle me, suplex me, whatever you want to do. And I'm sure the prisoners in cell block C would love to see you just fly. I wish I had me some of that.
All that big man flying around in there.
Flying around.
You know?
Why not? Yeah, sure. Why not? Indeed, why not? For God's sakes. I mean, you got. Oh, let me see who else. Let me see. Yasu Basil, great show tonight, guys. Enjoying the nice program. Thanks you, Alicia. Anna Galan, Steve Tama. Steve, what's going on, brother? Good to see that you're watching the show as well. Yeah, man, that's good. You know what today is? I don't know if you knew what
down
today
under.
is.
Hey, he might be going to your show down under.
I'm sure they will. I love when my Australian fans are fantastic, and we'll sell out. We're going to do, I think, Her Majesty's Theatre in Melbourne and in Sydney, and I think we're going to also do Her Majesty's Theatre in Adelaide. So we're very, very excited about doing these shows. Hey, that's couple things. It's actually National Peppermint Bark Day. I don't know if you knew that today.
Sorry, it's what?
National Peppermint Bark Day.
What is that?
You never heard of peppermint bark?
Not peppermint bark. I've heard of peppermint, but not peppermint bark.
Where do you think that it comes from? Peppermint comes from the bark of a certain tree.
Like peppermint patty, like, you know what I mean, from like Charlie Brown, and
sometimes you disappoint me.
Or from a candy cane somewhere, and you just peeled it off. I mean,
it's National Package Protection Day. And when I got a package, I got to protect it. You know what I'm saying? And I think we all do.
Hey, baby, you know
what's up? I'm holding my package. Hey, you got to hold on to that package. It's National Christmas Light Day. Who knew? National Christmas Light Day. Look at that. Man, you got decorations and everything.
Hey, baby. Salute to my wife. Salute to my wife and my daughter. Hey, they said, Dad, you got your show. We're gonna hook up your backdrop for you. Give you a little bit of Christmas feng shui.
I love it.
And if you can tell, so these are nutcrackers, right? Nutcrackers. So my wife, when my kids were born, started the tradition. We get Santa Claus, or we'll get my son nutcrackers for Christmas, and my daughter will get her like a little tree.
Christmas tree. I love that. You start a tradition with them like that. We do it
every year. They get a different one.
I got a friend of mine, Manny Miliotis, and we did a thing one time. We were drunk off our asses. It was a Christmas party, and we were actually doing 2 Greek nutcrackers talking to each other. It's the stupidest thing, but people were laughing their asses off with it, and I can't find the damn thing to put it on. But look what I got, the naughty elf on the shelf. Oh, he's going to, it starts tomorrow. All the crazy, you got to see, he had the Barbies actually dancing for him naked and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah.
Making it rain on them a
hell
little
yeah,
bit.
making it rain big time, baby. He was out there doing that. So I'm bringing up the naughty elf on the shelf will be back.
Nice.
And then it's actually Apple Day. For some, eat a red apple. I don't know. On a serious note, man, I can eat apples like all day.
I like apples.
I went apple picking. I'm not one of those guys who likes to go apple picking, but I went to your neck of the woods near Asheville and stuff like that. Okay. And I went to a farm and picked these apples. But I think I ate more apples than I actually put in the bags because I was just like cleaning them and them. Oh my God. And those pink crisps. I don't know who came up with pink crisps, but they are delicious. I love pink crisps.
Yeah, what's your favorite apple dish? As far as like apple pie, apple crumble, apple sauce, apple, I don't know. I can't really. That's the only thing. That's the only apple.
Yeah, the only thing was apples. My mom, you know what my mom used to do? God bless her. My mom would apple turnovers are always great. My mom used to slice apples and put it on the burner at our house of our stove, and it was absolutely delicious. Or you could just smell, and the aroma of burning apple just around the house. It's just delicious. But I would probably have to say hot apple pie and hot blueberry pie with a huge scoop of vanilla ice cream. That'll do it. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of apple pie. I don't know if I like apple pie better or peach cobbler better. I don't.
Peach cobbler's okay, but after a while it gets like
peach cobbler fan.
Are you really?
Love me some good peach cobbler.
You know, and to me, peach cobbler is great. And for all the people that are listening right now and watching, hey, let us know what you think is your favorite. Yeah, that's right. Chat. On the chat, bring it up. Let me see what you guys like. If you guys like something with apple, I love apples. I do, man. Like I said, I could eat 4 or 5 apples a day. Not a problem.
So is that your favorite fruit? That's your apple. Your favorite fruit?
Yeah.
Really?
Right behind it would have to be the grapes. I love grapes, but if they're sweet,
bananas and peach, then apples, then grapes, then strawberries. Probably somewhere in that, something like that. Yeah.
See,
so bananas. I think banana is my favorite fruit.
Yeah, and the potassium aspect alone is good for you. For any type of apple like that. But I'll tell you what, man, just unbelievable. But for all of you out there who are watching and listening, hey, if you like an apple dish, you got an apple dish you want to share with us, and don't forget, we're also bringing the boys back. It's going to be the Basil Fun Hour. We're going to do that coming up shortly in about 3 weeks. You know what? You should come.
Man.
Yeah, I think
I would love to.
As soon as they see you walking in, there goes the neighborhood.
Shit, will they let me into your neighborhood?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna do my best. I'll give you like a pass. I'll see what I can do.
Shit, Hey, I know a guy. I know a
guy. Yeah, who is? What's his last name? It's Basil. Damn it, it's Basil. Oh my gosh! So to me, it's going to definitely be a fun time. It really is to have you on there. I think you'd be great. And of course, my boys Emile Boudry, White Boy Slim Lee King will be there. My brother-in-law JJ Poulos will be there, and of course, we're going to have Bill Voyadzi. And it's the same old boys, and now introducing you in the mix. Woo! It's gonna be fun.
That'd be cool. That'd be a lot of fun for sure. A lot of fun.
Well, listen, coming up shortly, probably in about just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it won't be long.
George Pantas is going to be with us, and by the way, and I want to ask, everything's cool with your mama, and I appreciate that I got the good news about that, and I love that. The other thing is too, man. Thanksgiving, how was it for you?
Thanksgiving was beautiful. I hadn't been home to Asheville for Thanksgiving in a long time. It's been a minute. Just because of my work schedule and everything, I just never really could take off for Thanksgiving. I was
dig it.
Always working for sports and everything. But Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday. It's probably my favorite holiday.
Yeah, bringing family all together.
Family together and food, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah,
now, let me ask you a question. Is it because you had, I honestly only had one big plate of food,
Okay.
And I did go back for, later on I had some whatever leftovers were there and stuff like that, which were delicious. I love those Hawaiian
Oh, the Hawaiian
buns.
sweet rolls.
Oh yeah, the sweet
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
You take me some ham and then I put a little mayonnaise on that and eat
Come
that.
on. It's over. It's
Oh,
over. It's over.
that was good. But did you get really, really tired after you had that meal?
So I ate two different places. So I ate at my wife's.
You are a pig. You are definitely a pig.
No. I dabbled that first plate.
My
you know
ass
I mean?
dabbled.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to get myself too full. I knew I was going to go eat at my brother's house. For you know what I mean.
Bam, is Bam joining us tonight? What's up with that?
I don't know. He might not. He might be. I
hope Bam comes on.
It.
And Nick, and what about Tsingelis, man? Nicky Tsingelis, he's a big wrestling freak. I hope he comes on with us and stuff like that. So, so tell me, so you dabbled in one meal, and what did they specialize in?
Ooh, so over there, so it was my in-laws' house, my wife's house, and her mom. Oh my gosh, such a good cook with some people. Brought some stuff. Man, it was different. I had Brussels sprouts. I had some Brussels sprouts.
I don't know if I like Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. I like Brussels sprouts a lot. But over there, so the typical turkey, ham, but they had a smoked turkey over there. Ooh-wee. So they had smoked turkey over there.
Was it tender?
At my brother's house, yes.
Was it tender?
Delicious.
Oh, good.
Beautiful. Perfect. And then at my brother's house, he had fried turkey over there. Ooh.
That was tender too. See, if it's overdone, if it's dry, I can't eat it.
Yeah. It could be horrible if it's dry, for sure. But no, it was great. It was great. What about you, man? How was it?
A ton of people. We had the traditional Thanksgiving lamb, and we had lamb and moussaka and pastizo.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Whoa.
Yeah.
After lamb, what'd you say?
Moussaka.
Which is pastizo. What's that?
Oh man, you don't know moussaka? It's a traditional Greek Thanksgiving meal. You take thinly sliced, eggplant with cheese and cream and with meat sauce with a cream sauce on top and thinly sliced potatoes on there, and you eat it. You never had moussaka, dude?
No, sir, I have not.
No, sir, you know what? When you come to our Greek festival. Chris Tsingelis over at Chris's restaurant on 17th and Dawson in Wilmington. Hey, man, look, my wife's a great cook, but I don't know if anyone can make a better moussaka than Chris Tsingelis. His pastizo is delicious, but that moussaka of his melts in my mouth. And if you
just sounds good.
Oh, man. It just sounds good. It's decadent. It's decadent. It's delicious. It melts in your mouth, and you got to have it. And you're just going to sit there and go. You'll put it. I know you. I know your taste because you and I have the same taste. You and I can go to Winnie's Hamburgers, right, and have a burger, and we just both like. We just salivate as soon as you walk in there. It's sit there.
Exactly. We'll have to ask George about it when he's on because he just joined us in the old lobby there, baby.
Oh, baby, bring him on.
Bring
him in. Hey, George, how are you?
Hey, Basil, doing great. And I have to tell you, my mother makes the best moussaka. Or used to make
Yeah. I'm sure I know. Everyone's mom makes the best of everything. But, George, before we continue, let me go ahead and do a quick little bio on you so people know who the heck you are. George Pantas started watching wrestling since he was a young man on TV, and he was about 12 years old. George started going to live matches, met the promoter who allowed George to use a Super 8 camera and film the ring right by the ring apron matches during the 70s and 80s with such young stars as Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Roddy Piper, and more, who revolutionized pro wrestling. The matches became legendary. In 2014, George sold some of that footage to WWE. Through the years, George has cultivated many wrestling friendships that has allowed him to help behind the scenes and on various wrestling projects, such as A&E's WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, Conrad Thompson's adfreeshow.com, and Jim Crockett Promotions documentary, and more. Currently, George is the commissioner for Virginia Championship Wrestling based in Norfolk, Virginia, and has a huge show Saturday, December 4th at the event at the Norfolk Masonic Temple in Norfolk, Virginia, with great wrestling matches and a special guest, worldwide superstar, the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels. It's George's first time back after the tremendous attack by his arch nemesis, Jerry Stephanitis. And George is asking all of his fans, and I mean all of his fans, to be there. Be there or be square. I'm telling you right now, it's about time that Jerry goes down. That's all I'm saying. That's all I am saying right now. He makes his return. Hey, you want to go to this match? You got to see this match. Go to VCWProWrestling.com. JR, you got that? You got that website? Put it up there, man.
I do have the website. Basil.
Because people need to go there.
Also, Basil, I have some breaking news, sir. Some breaking news, Basil.
What's up?
Commissioner George Pantas will be interviewed by none other than Tim Lulis in Lulis Lounge this Saturday night at the show.
No.
Yes.
Folks,
yes, he will.
I mean, not only is this man the commissioner, not only does this man promote shows, not only does this man create legendary wrestlers, but he was a high school teacher, and I think that's tremendous. He really was. He was a history high school teacher, and that's where he got a lot of his moves from and everything like that. So I was always thinking, George, welcome to the show. I read some of your bio that you sent, the more extensive one, and I was just truly impressed with some of the things. But what really impresses me, because my daughter is a school teacher, and every time she refers lovingly about her students as her little shits, and I think that's tremendous. When you can refer to the children that you teach as your little shits, I think it's a tremendous thing. I really do. George, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Basil. Thank you, JR, for having me on. Very excited, very honored, and what a great introduction, man.
Well, listen, listen, it's showbiz, baby, and
yes,
showbiz, and George, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know too much about wrestling except the stuff that I used to watch when I was a kid. And then when I went, my cousin took me to WrestleMania 2, and JR and I always laugh about this. I never went to a wrestling match. I never cared to go to a wrestling match. And then all of a sudden I went, and this whole row that we had of people that were there, the place was jam-packed. And I had this wonderful lady next to me, and she was drinking her beer, had to be in her 70s, late 70s back then, and she had no teeth, and she was gumming her peanuts, and she'd go, you want some peanuts, baby? You want some peanuts? I'll give you some peanuts. You want some peanuts, baby? I'll give you some peanuts. You want peanuts? I'll give you peanuts. And the whole time, every time I look at her, you want some peanuts? You want some of my beer? No, that's all. I don't want. I look at my cousin in Greek. I'm telling him, that's a skotoso. Get the hell out of here. One row, 17 teeth. I swear to God. I was like, unbelievable. And I'm like, oh my God. But George, tell me, I mean, you came here, you emigrated here from Greece. You were roughly about 9 years old. Tell me, like every Greek kid or any kid that immigrates to the U.S., they basically get stuck watching TV. Is that where you first fell in love with it?
Well, yes, very much. Not only that, but, when I left Greece, very small village in Greece, in the island of Lesbos, named Zafia, about 500 people, no electricity, no running water. We were poor. I just didn't know that. Actually, we weren't poor. We were po. We couldn't even afford the letter R.
We just po.
It wasn't until I came here to America. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and you saw a lot of things that you never saw before.
Yes. And yes, that's where I discovered wrestling. That's where I learned how to talk and how to walk. I'd like to say that I learned to talk English by listening to watching the I Love Lucy and listening to Ricky Ricardo.
Oh my God.
And I learned how to walk by watching Dick Van Dyke, and I would trip over the little
ottoman
thing there.
Yeah, sure.
But yes, I discovered wrestling on TV, and I was fascinated by it. First of all, wrestling Greek. I'm like, oh, this. Of course, I got to watch it. And then I realized, of course, it's very different. A lot of showbiz, but I was hooked. Like JR and I, we're tag team partners in wrestling. Got hooked from day one. And the blessing at that time was that they would come to our area every 2 weeks. Every second Thursday, they would come to the very famous building known as Norfolk Scope, where many historic matches have taken there. And then the other blessing that I had was through church. One of a very dear friend of mine, Tony Anthony, a Cypriot. I understand you've performed it all over the world.
Yeah, I performed in Cyprus.
Right?
Yeah, I performed in Cyprus many times. Yeah, I love it there.
Well, that's awesome. And so Tony was the sports editor for the paper, and the promoter, a man by the name of Mr. Joe Murnick, he would come in to bring the videos to play on TV. He would buy airtime and also buy newspaper time, and became good friends with Tony. I went to one of the matches. Tony happened to be there, thank God, introduced me to Mr. Murnick, and basically said, would you take care of George? And at this point, I have to be probably 13, 14 years old. But, you know, when there are good people on earth, there are good people on earth. Mr. Murnick and his wife, Shirley, they were the promoters for the Jim Crockett Promotions, which for those fans listening is what eventually was sold to Ted Turner and became World Championship Wrestling. But Mr. Murnick just, I don't know. My personality, I mean, he allowed me. Now, at that time, the word is kayfabe, which is everything was kept secret. No one knew. It was very, very difficult to get into the inside world of professional wrestling. Yet he allowed me to, as you eloquently read there, to sit right by the ring apron and to film matches, highlights really, because I used the Super 8 camera, and we were, as I said, I wasn't kidding when I said we were poor. Film was very expensive, and especially to develop it. But I mastered the art of filming it in such a way that you couldn't tell that I was stopping and changing positions, because in those days they didn't just wrestle 2-3 minutes. You know, they would wrestle 40-50 minutes. So it was easy for me to figure out little angles, and it really does look great. And part of the blessing is that I was able to document, which is why I fancy myself a historian of pro wrestling, as well as, of course, as a history teacher, that I was able to document some incredible matches. And one of the biggest, and the one that was the impetus of me selling some of my footage to WWE, is called the Battle of the Nature Boys. Now, back when you were watching it back then, you may remember the name of Buddy Rogers. He was the original Nature Boy. He wrestled Bruno Sammartino. I know you recognize that
boy. Yeah, sure.
Yes. And that's when the WWF was created. And when Ric Flair started to become a name in the NWA, they had this match between Buddy Rogers and Ric Flair, because Buddy Rogers was the original Nature Boy. And so the ending was that Ric Flair beat him and wound up getting the moniker Nature Boy. And I have they only wrestled 3 times in the area, because Buddy Rogers by then was partially retired. And I have the only known footage, arena footage of them wrestling. So,
oh, wow.
Very, very special. Yes.
So whenever I watch any type of documentary or whatever that goes back, that was probably you filming.
One of the coolest comments I received was from a friend of mine, actually one of my former students, that said, Mr. Pantas, I watched the WWE Network, and I didn't realize a whole bunch of that stuff was yours. So yes, I've been very blessed that they've used my footage in several documentaries, especially dealing with Ric Flair specifically, and Ricky Steamboat, the other name that you mentioned. So those wrestlers that honed their skills in what is known as the Mid-Atlantic area back then.
Got it. You know,
Which
and
is
it's
one of the territories. Yeah, it's one of the big territories. So like back in the days, sorry to jump
no,
in
go
and all
for it,
that
man.
stuff. But yeah, so like the Mid Atlantic was territory. So it wasn't just WWF or WWE like it is nowadays as the big company. It was before because Vince McMahon bought all those out and ended all the territories basically. So back then you'd have a Midwest territory, a Mid-South territory, a territory up north, a territory out west, and all the wrestlers would go to different territories and build the names for themselves and compete throughout all the territories. It was amazing.
Well, I'll tell you what amazes me is, Greeks love, and it's in Greek, it's referred to as palestra, and they loved wrestling. They love palestra. My father, and I think I told you, George, when I talked to you one time over the phone, that I used to wrestle high school, and but it was either high school wrestling or then I went up to various tournaments when it was Roman Greco and stuff. And my father would get so into it. He would be on the bottom rung of the bleachers, and my father would be wrestling with me, but he's like, he's doing the movements, and I'm sitting there tied up, and I'm looking over my side. I'm like, I just start laughing, and I have to break the hold real quick, go back. But my dad would just make me laugh. Here I am, 6'2", and my dad 5'3". He's like a little mini me, and he's trying to do all these moves, and he's like, I thought he was going to scream out, throw the Patucci ride, throw the, give him the name, whatever. And I'm sitting there laughing with some of that garbage. Through the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, I got a chance to talk to someone by the name of Ike Goulis. And Ike was telling me about his uncle was a big-time promoter at that time out of Tennessee, out of Nashville, I guess, I think it was. And he told me, and Ike was very, very complimentary of you. Of course, his wife, Fanula, is from your area, and I love Fanula. I think Ike was batting way over average to get someone like Fanula, to marry him. That's all I'm going to say.
I second that emotion, yes.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. But and he said, tell me a little bit about, some of the older wrestlers, especially Zaharias, because you're the one who actually corrected me. And it was funny because when he met the golfer, it was Babe, right? And she was, it was fun, and her funniest line was, when I got involved with this wrestler, he says, I thought I was marrying a Greek god. He turned out to be a goddamn Greek, and to me is a funny line, and I just thought it was just great,
And I want to thank you for saying that, because I've used that line over and over again in regards to me. The way that I use the joke is, when I was young, I was very handsome, and I would walk by, and the young ladies would look at me and say, damn, there's a Greek god. Now they say there's a goddamn Greek.
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
But I never knew that she was the one that made that line famous. So thank you.
She was. She was quoted as saying that, and I thought it was always a funny line. So were Greeks always kind of predominant in the wrestling biz, or was it just something that we loved so much? Because you really don't see too many Italians in this. You don't really, but I see a lot of Greeks that are involved with it.
And especially back then, I mean, one of the world stars was a guy by the name of Jim Londos.
Of course, I heard that name before.
Yes,
sure,
yes. And then the Golden Greek, Spiros Arion. He was the number one nemesis of Bruno Sammartino, back in the 60s.
Wow.
So yes, especially back then, they did have more. Well, the W, and I keep referring to it as WWF. That was the original name, and then eventually, of course, it became WWF, and then now, as JR said, WWE. Is that they focused, because based out of New York and Madison Square Garden, they focused on the ethnic groups. They had a Pedro Morales focusing on the Hispanic group. They had Bruno for the Italians. But as far as more Dominic DeNucci and other Italian, but yes, there were definitely more Greeks that were involved, especially in those years. And even now, we're starting to have some of the Greeks, especially in the independent scene. I have a guy that works for us now in DCW. His moniker is the Greek god Papadon, and he is Greek, speaks very well, from New York, from from Brooklyn, and he's amazing. He's out on the island right now, and he'll be wrestling for us. He actually became the Liberty champion, and he will be defending his title on December the 4th.
Oh, beautiful!
Nice.
Did you have any aspirations of you wanting to wrestle as well? Were you an athlete in school at all that gave you some type of I guess the impetus to go ahead out and try it yourself?
The answer is because we were poor. I actually have been working. I'm happily retired. I retired about 2 years ago. Thank God, right before COVID hit. But from the age of 12, I have worked for literally 50 years until I retired. And so, and I worked at the breast shop. My father came over, briefly. I do want to pay homage to him because God bless him. He gave up everything there, and I'll tell you, without getting I'm gonna wind up getting emotional, but I never knew how much my father was respected until I went back there to bury him.
Yeah,
he left in 1964. He was up south here at the church, very, very well respected.
It means like a chanter, just to let you know, JR.
Okay.
In the Greek church, you have the priest, you have the choir, JR, and then you have on one side and on the other side, you have the cantor. So he left all that behind, not speaking a word of English, but he had a skill, and he was able to come here as a tourist. But because of his skill, through a relative that brought him over, an Uncle George, he was a tinsmith. So because of that skill, the law says if you're able to, if you're needed by someone to perform that skill, you can stay here. And then he literally worked like a dog from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, every night, a dirty, filthy job. But in 2 years, he was able to save enough money to send us to live and then to bring us over.
Wow.
And us, meaning my mother, my sister, and I, and we came in 1966.
So, these are the true stories. Those are the true heroes and everything. That we don't sometimes.
Really is.
Oh,
How about that?
My gosh, that's a great picture.
That was about a year after we came to America. So this had to be about 67, maybe early 68. That's my sister Marianne, my beautiful mother Aliki, my amazing, handsome dad Ignatios, and there's little Georgie Porgy, or
little Georgie Porgy.
Yeah,
little Georgie Porgy.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
beautiful.
That. I think that's a great story, and it's a story that a lot of ethnic people, especially for us Greeks, really went through. And a lot of people don't know. You go from a war-torn area of Greece, like Greece, I should say. It basically taken over by the Germans. The Italians tried, but we pushed them way up in the Albanian mountains and stuff like that. So that didn't really count for much. But, here, a ragtag army that basically, the only times I could really think that was really terrible for us was, of course, during the communist, revolution in Greece back in the late 40s going, and that was horrific on its own thing, but we don't even want to get in that. You've gone, you're the commissioner now.
Yes.
And tell me right now, what is the key thing you want to do as the commissioner? Because you got a ton of stories, and I want to hear a couple of them about Ric Flair. I want to hear about these guys who were really, back in the day, they were wrestlers, but they became legends. And you knew them when they were like, it was a guy I pal around with. I went out to dinner with, whatever. We took them out. We went here and there. Let's go to that question first. What were they like, and who were your favorite cats that you liked hanging with?
My favorite, of course, has to be the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo!
Yeah, baby.
And
Look at
there
that.
we are.
Look at that.
Together. And at this point, Basil, look at me carefully. I mean, I wanted to be just like him. Look, I parted my hair. I've never had parted my hair in the middle, but I did it. I did it because I wanted to look like Rick. Let my hair grow long.
Wow.
It was
That's
the
amazing.
original.
That's a great picture. That's a great
It
picture.
is. And this
Um,
is so Rick
Yes, sir.
was the one that really got me excited. I mean, he had the girls, he had the moves, and then slowly I was able to meet a lot of the other wrestlers again because of that connection that I talked about earlier. And some of the ones that I liked were Greg Valentine, Ricky Steamboat, old time wrestlers now
Oh man.
bystanders, Wahoo McDaniel, um, Blackjack Mulligan, and just a plethora of talent. The Anderson brothers, and those are names again, as we said earlier, that were very popular in the Mid-Atlantic area under Jim Crockett Promotions. But then when Vince McMahon took over the territory, some of those same guys, Roddy Piper, some of those guys moved up to WWF and eventually WWE and made even a bigger name for themselves. But Parting with the Nature Boy is the one that I can say, on one of the DVDs that WWE did with him, on the extra features, they asked him. They said, "Rick, you've done it all. What would you say is one of the most crazy places that you partied?" And he said, "Well, that had to be the Jim Crockett Cup in Baltimore, and what happened afterwards." Well, gentlemen, all I can tell you is I was there. I'll just leave it at that.
I can only imagine. But look
so
at this
we
basis.
can't really. Are you saying that we cannot discuss some of the ongoings that happened at that time?
Yes, sir.
Cannot confirm or deny, right? Look at this. Look at this, Basil. This is how much of a fan.
This-
Look at this.
Oh
Look
my
what we got
God.
there.
Look at
Look at
this.
there.
Now that's an original.
That's an original robe.
Original robe of Rick's.
Wow.
Owned at that time by the guy who's actually a referee, Wes Potter, and he also owns the original Ric Flair Starcade robe. And this particular one right now, if I'm remembering correctly, he sold it to Conrad Thompson. But there's
of course,
styling and profiling, limousine riding, son of a gun.
So these guys, I mean, would they? What did your just out of curiosity? What would your parents say when you saw these guys and they're because I'm sure your father shook his head. He goes, "Saclamares." I'm sure Saclamares was like, silly games. What did your dad say about this?
Well, he was smart enough to use it as a carrot stick. And I learned from him, and I did the same thing years later, and I'll briefly tell that story. And so as long as I brought home, because, I didn't finish answering your question, I wanted to do wrestling in high school. I wanted to do soccer, podosfero, as we say.
Sure.
But I worked every day at the same factory. What happened was he came in 64, we came in 66. In 68, that factory burned down to the ground.
Oh, wow.
And it was the first time and only time I saw my father, who was a man's man, typical Greek man. I came home one day after school and he was crying. And honestly, it scared me. Like, Mom, what happened? Well, the place, like I said, he had burned down to the ground. And in my father's mind, he didn't know about insurance and stuff like that. Oh, no, I'm a failure. I have to go back to our little village. What am I going to do? God bless the owner who had insurance. And because of that, I went back and he rebuilt. So I went back as a 12-year-old, helping to clean up the burnt pieces because it was basically metal, the breast shop, as the name implies.
Right.
And there was a lot of, candlesticks and trays and different varieties of items. So I went just to help sort out the pieces. And the boss liked what I was doing. So at the 12 years of age, he started paying me 50 cents an hour, which was a lot of money for
big money.
Wow.
68. So I worked there through my high school years, college, and then eventually when I finished as an educator, as a teacher, I decided to try teaching because he offered me more money. Honestly, I didn't go into teaching right away because when I went to tell him, thank you for everything, God bless you, but I want to do education. He's like, George, I'll make you manager. I'll give you more money. And of course, why do we come to America? We came for more money.
For the bucks. Right.
So I did not go into teaching right away. I took that job. And then for those listening, I would tell this story to my students, which is basically you have to make sure you enjoy what you're doing with your work. The money will come. You must be happy so it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Guys, I woke up one morning and I didn't want to go to work. And that blew my mind. This is when I was a manager. and that blew my mind. I never felt that way. And then I did a test real quick, and it was a huge factory. I went to the back. I closed my eyes literally, I went down an aisle, put my hand on a shelf, and picked up an item, and I knew what it was, what country it came from, all of that. So I realized I wasn't being challenged anymore. And so I tried substituting. I had a captive audience. My style is always, Basil, I know you remember the show Welcome Back, Kotter.
Sure.
Well, he stole everything from me, okay?
I'll talk to Gabe about that and see what I can find out about him.
So that has always been my style. I call it edutain. I sneak in that education while I tell very bad jokes. Although I do tell some good ones, and I have to tell you, a lot of your stick has became my stick in the classroom. But I gave you credit. Okay.
So as long as there's a footnote someplace that I got credit for, sure.
My favorite. The last few years, I was teaching government and sociology and African American studies, and when we would learn about the civil rights, I actually used one of yours, and we talked about the bigotry that existed in the world, and then of course, see, I knew you would start laughing. Allow me to say this because I have the students. I don't have the students. So I would tell my students that, of course, I came here in the '60s, and we as Greeks even experienced that bigotry that existed. And so my father was really just learning the language. So one day I said to my father, "Dad, do you know what bigotry is?" And my father said, "Yeah." I look out the window and I say, "Hey, there's a bigotry. Hey."
Boom.
Now, JR, that's Basil's joke. Okay, that's not mine.
It's all in the delivery, George. Yeah. What can I tell you?
I love it. Hey, it's perfect. It's perfect. I love it.
No, but the thing was, though, to be honest with you, when you're a teacher, you are, and I get this from my daughter. If you're entertaining, and my daughter is sarcastic, she is bold, she is whatever, and she gets some of these crazy kids, and she goes, "Dad, you would never know." Now, I was a nutcase because I was an athlete. I was a ball player. I was a wrestler, and everyone knew me as a jock, but I kind of kept to myself. I never, ever talked back to my teachers then. Just, it wasn't my style. And there were kids that did it, but now it's like even the 8th graders that she teaches are just have lost their minds. Yes. So, thanks for your service for teaching our youth.
You're welcome. I one time I was also an assistant principal of a middle school, and I would tell the parents when they came in for orientation for that, for 6th graders, I would say, "You're going to start saying to yourself, who is this child? I don't know this child." And then I would say, but there is a happy ending in the 8th grade. At the end, they'll slowly become your children again. But these are the years that they're trying to figure out themselves in so many ways. And it is. It's a very that 6th, 7th, and 8th graders was a very challenging group. But we had fun with it. But to finish answering your question, so my father would not let me go to the matches unless I would show that report card. And then that was my motivator to do well in school. And then as I said, I learned that from him. And so those film that we talked about that I would make, I would then show them, because I work with a lot of kids at risk. The money wasn't there for them to go to the matches. And so the hook was, if all of you pass the test, because this is before standards of learning and things like that, on Friday, we're going to have a fun day, and I'm going to play the matches that happened 2 weeks ago over at the Scope. And I had a full house. I had kids that were skipping other classes
to come in.
Love it. That's amazing. So, quick question. So, George, I already know the story from you were on my wrestling podcast a few months ago and everything. And the story about how you made your way down ringside. To get the footage. If you will, please tell that story. It's amazing.
So this is before I met Mr. Murnick, before Tony was there. So this is when I would buy, because all we could afford to buy was the cheapest seats. And we're talking like $4 back then. And that would be the nosebleeds. And so, but I wanted to be up close where the action was. And so I would go up, and I would always make sure to go up to a young lady, an usher. and I would say, I would have a piece of paper, and on there was the license plate of my car. Okay. But I would say to her, excuse me, this person left their lights on. Well, now they can't walk all the way down. They didn't have walkie-talkies and things like that. So you would see the frustration in her face. And I would say, I'd be more than happy to take this note down to the ring announcer for you. And at that point, she was relieved. And then I would make sure to get her name off her tag. And then as I would go down, because eventually somebody would stop me, another usher, I would say, oh, Julie said I could take this note down to the ring announcer. And then I would watch. And if they're watching me, I would go over, say hello to the ring announcer. Because before that, I scouted to see where the empty seats were, because they would turn the lights off. And then I would go and sit down and enjoy the show. And then the rest of the story that I said earlier about Tony Anthony and Joe Murnick, and then I didn't have to do that anymore.
Smart guy. That was smart. That was
brilliant. Brilliant. He was able to work his way down ringside from nosebleed seat.
Yeah, usually you try to work your way up, but George, you actually worked your way down, and I think that's tremendous. To be quite honest with you, it's a testament to your will. It really is.
Right. Exactly.
So I want to know a little something. What's this whole brouhaha going on December 4th? That's the big thing, George. Let's be honest. I don't want anyone putting you down, and I'm telling all the people out there who are going to be watching this, I want to let you know that you don't mess with my man George, or I will go ahead and moose up my hair and come down and shove a kutala up your piscino. And that's not a fun thing because I do it sideways. So I'm telling you, what you need to know, tell me about this brouhaha going on December 4th.
Well, what happened was the previous time I was there, Jerry Stefanidis, who is now the director of operations, another Greek. And the sad thing is, I mean, his parents and I are very, very dear friends. You mentioned Ike Gulas there. We're all friends. I used to babysit this guy. I used to change his diapers. He pissed on me back then when he was a little kid, and now he's trying his best to
do it again.
Now. And so through the years, he just won't let me be who I am. This is it. This is from July 31st. That's Jerry on the left there. That's Tim Lewis in the middle. And he gave me, Jerry bought the company. And as director of operations, he decided to give me a job review. And the sad thing is that it went downhill from there. He couldn't find a reason to fire me. So when I asked him to give me a reason, what happened then was this guy that was on the right, Jerry, as you can see here, need me in the crown jewel.
Not a comfortable area. Yeah, no. Not a good area.
And then the gentleman behind it, I'm not going to call him a gentleman. That's his hatchet man right over there. He pretty much knocked me down and put a move on me known as the Cannibal Swanton. It knocked me out.
Wow.
I had to be carried out, bruised some ribs. You know, you try to protect yourself. In the wrestling business, we don't want to kill each other, but at the same time, when moves happen, you have to just do your best to protect yourself. And so here, I left, and then Jerry not only he wouldn't fire me because he said he wants to just make me come and go whenever he feels like it. I was able to do a lot of therapy work, for lack of a better word. I had to see my doctor. It's been a long process. And so now, first he makes an announcement saying that since it's Christmas time, he's going to let me return. Then we find out the breaking news that JR said there, that I'm going to be the guest again of that Tim Louis. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to be ready. And I'm moving a little bit, quite honestly, and I have to kind of move a little. I'm moving slower, but I'm determined. The fans there love me, and I'm determined to go back. And I want all of our fans watching and listening to this. You heard what Basil said. JR, thank you for making that clear about what's happening. And we're going to be there, and we want all the fans to go to vcwprowrestling.com and get your tickets. The ringside is pretty much sold out. I think there's very few left, and it's a beautiful venue. There's the picture there. It's a beautiful venue. We don't have the fireworks and stuff like that, but we have lights and other things that just really, really give you an amazing atmosphere, and it's a family atmosphere, and it's always packed, and we look forward to seeing all the fans there. And I will be getting back with you, Basil and JR, to let you know what happened. But
there is no two ways about it. But I think what you need, I think you need 2 bodyguards to actually protect you. Someone, perhaps, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud, maybe like JR, myself, yeah, and actually lay down law. You got some guys who, we pack, I know we have big packages. We already discussed that earlier.
Right.
And I will wear my cup. Earlier. Yeah. And I will definitely wear my cup to protect my package, my said package.
For sure.
And you don't want to get kicked in there like he kicked me.
No.
Obviously,
that's his move. That's his move.
Yeah. So I think what I need to do is to teach old Jerry, do you know who you're messing with? And, and I'll show him what we call that move, a souffle.
Suplex.
The
X is, in wrestling, the X is pronounced. Not a damn.
I'm going to do a souffle.
It's not a breakfast dish or whatever a souffle is. I don't even know what a souffle is.
If you wants to mess around with us, we will not have that on this show.
That's right.
We will not have that on this show. I will not have my guests disrespected. And if you people want to find out more and see how this ends, I suggest you go to that website. One more time, JR, put it up there to get your tickets right now and to see how our boy George Pantas will get his revenge on Jerry. I don't even want to say his last name.
He doesn't deserve it. Don't even say his last name.
I don't. He's going down. That's all I'm saying. He is going down. That's all I'm trying to say. That's it. And then because I am famous for the Kutala up the Piscino sideways. Famous for that. My yaya taught me that move. And trust me, I'm still paying.
Good.
And I thank you for that. Of course, I have my show December the 4th, but Basil, you have a show coming up the Friday night, the December the 3rd.
I do. I'll be in New Jersey, and then I'm going to be in Edison, New Jersey. Pardon me?
Exit 11?
I'm sure it's a certain exit out there, whatever. But I will definitely be there. But you know what, George, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to be in February. I'm going to be at a place called Kazi's Comedy Club, which is in Norfolk. And I will be there, and I love doing that club. It's a very intimate room. It only seats about 175, but I love, and they pack it in all the time. But we're going to be doing a special Greek show that I'm going to be doing as well that we're going to do. So hopefully I'll get you and your family, and I don't even want to bring Jerry up there. He's Greek, but I think he's Turkish, to be quite honest with you. We will not have that.
Well, that sounds awesome, and we will pack that. We will pack that place.
I'm sure you will, and I'm looking forward to having you back to letting us know how the outcome was on that. And to be honest with you, we will not. And I think JR and I need to take a little road trip.
Hey, look, I don't even. You know what I mean? Like, so this weekend is my son's 13th birthday. Friday, he's turning 13.
Oh.
I mentioned to him maybe us possibly taking a little road trip. It's only about 4 hours away. Just saying.
Oh, that would be awesome. I mean? Then you're welcome to come as my guest.
There you go.
Awesome. We have some family about 20-30 minutes from Norfolk. So
excellent.
We might make a weekend out. I'm trying to work it out with work. And if I come in there and I see Jerry,
you got my back.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And I wish I could tell you I was going to be there, but the thing is, see, I got to do a show. I got to look handsome and do my show and drive the women crazy like I do. Shit, what am I talking about? Let me be honest with you. I can't get laid in prison, so I have no idea what the hell I'm even talking about. Quite honest with you. So, but I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so
You're
much,
a wonderful guest, and I can't wait, George, to have you once again, you are welcome anytime. Talk to JR anytime you want to come on. We'd love to have you. I love guests like this, and especially those who have been abused by the man, and we will not have that. We will not be abused by anyone like that. And George is going to lay down his thing. His package is going to be laid down right there in front of everyone so everyone can see. He's going to get some get down, smack down right there. And he's going to do a souffle on top of everything.
That's right. And throw some moussaka in there, too.
Throw some moussaka. I was trying to explain to JR what moussaka is. Is it not perhaps the most delicious thing you've ever put in your mouth?
It really, all joking aside, it really, really is. Look, just talking about it now, my mouth is watering.
Yeah, I'm telling you, me too. There's no two ways about it. No two ways about it. Thank you so much, George, for being part of this show. You've been a wonderful guest. My best to your family, and for everyone, have a wonderful New Year as well. And for all the listeners and all those who have watched, thank you all so much for being part of this. And George, is there an email address that people can get a hold of you if they have questions for your company, if they need to get a hold of you?
Yes, most definitely. Of course, I am on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram, George Pantas. Pantas, like a panda bear, only a T instead of a D, and I'm just as handsome and cuddly.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen, you're not getting lucky in prison either. All right.
So they can definitely reach out to me there, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. And of course, please follow Virginia Championship Wrestling on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course the site that JR has put up there. And there it is one more time. VCWProWrestling.com, where you can get all your information, meet and greets. It's an amazing experience, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone there. And for those that come, make sure you stop me. I'll be walking around and shaking hands and taking pictures and thanking all our fans. And so please make sure you stop and talk to me so I can thank you personally for being there.
That's
JR,
great.
I hope you're able to make that trip.
I'm gonna try my best for sure.
Let's should we? What's your son's first name, JR?
Braylon.
Say it again.
Braylon, Braylon.
Braylon. Well, we're gonna sing Hronia Pola. Ready? Hronia Pola.
Go ahead, finish it.
Hronia Pola. Hronia Pola. Nazis. Hronia Pola means may your son live many happy,
years,
prosperous, and healthy years.
Actually, the kid's going to be a good football player. He's a defensive. He was a defensive end. He's going to be. I think he's going to be a linebacker by the time I'm done with him. Anyway, he's going to be a big time linebacker. But George, again, thank you so much for being part of this show. You've been great.
Thank you so much, George.
An honor
Thank
and
you
a pleasure.
so much.
We'll be talking again soon, and Basil, if we don't see each other before then, we will see each other February, and we'll pack that place.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Get up, Jerry. Thank you.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yes.
Oh man, that was great. That was George Pantas. What a wonderful guest, and just a lot of fun.
Dude.
Great stories.
Love him a lot.
Great stories, man. And even the naughty shelf on the elf, he got excited. I think his package got really. There you go.
What about there?
Yeah.
So here, look. So I didn't tell you about this guy. This is Danny Vegas, yo. His name is Danny Vegas. He's in a tag team. He's in a 3-man tag team called Viva Las Amish. Okay. Look, check it. So you know the movie Kingpin, right?
Yeah.
Kingpin, the bowling movie.
Yeah.
So think Kingpin, but with wrestling. So he's Woody Harrelson, and he goes around with two Amish guys, and they're attacked. It is the best shit in the world. They have a live chicken. Crazy. They have a live chicken named Betsy. I shit you not, yo. It's the best. It is the best. That's why wrestling is the best, man. You just
I can hardly wait to really get into it.
Characters and storylines and good versus evil, good guys, bad guys. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what I wanted to talk about was the Iron Sheik, because that guy came out because oh my God, right after the whole Iran incident, I mean, he was exploded.
He's out of control. Out of control.
And I wonder if that guy could have ever gone out in public to actually go out and have a meal
I bet he
without
got
him
heat.
being
No,
berated.
I'm sure he got like true heat, like when he was out in public.
Oh,
I bet
I'm sure.
people hated him.
Sure.
Him.
It's a lot better to be loved than hated. Trust me, when you're in public. You know.
I can only imagine. I could only imagine for sure, brother. For sure. But that was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun with George.
Great being with all of you. Thank you so much for catching the show. This has been a Pinch of Basil with yours truly, and of course, J.R. Quitman. Thank you all so much. Hey, you want to get some info, make sure you email me. Go to info@apinchofbasil. Check us out. Watch the show. You guys been great. Love and kisses, everyone. Peace.
Peace.